What I've concluded is that the fall off in my head kind of plays out like a movie. Every time that I'm listening to the album, I've listened to it several times, no skips or anything, man. Like each time I'm listening, I'm catching different things in the narrative that's being told throughout the fall off. Like, oh shoot, wait a minute, I didn't catch this before. And then now the scene in my head, a little bit less foggy, a little bit more detailed. People have been like, wow, this is like a great breakdown and stuff like that. So that's been really cool. So I took the time to and it was a brief, quick breakdown of disc 29. And then I went ahead and also did disc 39 as well a little bit later. That one I put into more detail. But I figured what? Let me just put this in video once and for all. This beat, it just hits my soul. That's just me personally. He wants to rebuild himself. He wants to kill this character J. Cole, and he wants to be Jermaine. This is showing the evolution, the growth. He's like, man, because this character J. Cole is really getting in the way of Jermaine. Jermaine is the man who's supposed to be matured, wise, developed with the woman of his dreams. J. Cole is still out here in these streets. He's still having commitment issues. He's still doing this. He's still trying to be powered up. And that's how we then end up seeing the stuff that happens in the next song, Drum and Bass. What's up, everyone? If you don't know me, my name is Denzel Mensah. I'm an ENFJ, 9-wing-1, social sexual in the Myers-Briggs and Enneagram system. I'm also a certified life, personal development, and relationship coach. And today we are going to be doing my final review on the J. Cole album, The Fall Off. And this time, I'm going to be breaking down the whole narrative that's going on throughout this concept album, track by track. All right, let's get it. So, if you haven't already watched my previous fall off video, then I recommend that you go and check that one out. It was my initial takes. That at that point I've taken maybe 3 days to listen to it back and forth. And in that specific video, I was giving my overall opinion at the time of the fall off and thoughts on J. Cole as a person, thoughts about the beef, thoughts about even Kendrick and Drake and all of that. So that video had more general stuff going on with that one. But in this video, I'm going to be literally just taking the time to break down essentially all 24 tracks and how they go throughout the timeline. It's not going to be let's go into every single lyric about each track, because that could then come up to 24 videos in and of itself. But I mean the bigger picture of the Fall Off album itself. And because the way that I see it, pretty much what I've concluded is that the fall off in my head kind of plays out like a movie. That's what I've noticed. Every time that I'm listening to the album, I've listened to it several times. I wish I could actually look at Apple Music and see how many times I've spun that record back. No skips or anything, man. I'm just replaying it in my head. And it's because a lot of times I have a second job aside from my life coaching, and during that job, I like to listen to the music and everything like that, and just kind of play it back. It's an hour 43 minutes, so it gets the time through and gives me stuff to process. And each time I'm listening, I'm catching different things in the narrative that's being told throughout the fall off. Oh shoot, wait a minute, I didn't catch this before. And then now it makes a scene in my head a little bit less foggy, a little bit more detailed. And so I tweeted about this, I did both. I put it on Twitter, I put it on Threads. On Twitter, it didn't really get much engagement. I'm like, all right, whatever. But on Threads, it started to, it wasn't millions, but it started to get a lot of attention, at least a lot of attention for what I would consider, and it's even still going now. My phone is buzzing with that and everything, and I've been enjoying that. People have been like, wow, this is a great breakdown and stuff like that. So that's been really cool. So I took the time to and it was a brief, quick breakdown of disc 29. And then I went ahead and also did disc 39 as well a little bit later. And that one I put into more detail. But I figured what? Let me just put this in video once and for all. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm really enjoying this album. And like I said in the last Fall Off video, I don't expect everybody to love it. I don't expect everybody to say like, oh yeah, J. Cole is their favorite rapper and stuff like that. Now, I try to really do stay objective while still holding on to my subjective feelings toward Cole. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even that like J. Cole can do no wrong. I talk about that in the last video as well. But this album definitely continues to grow on me, like with every listen. And you know, for those of you who know typology, I believe for me as an ENFJ, my NI and TI just get so much appreciation and like so much reward and dopamine from getting the narrative more clear from the whole album, which is the NI part of it. Like, oh wow, I'm seeing the whole bigger picture, like how everything is coming together. And then my TI is getting like you know, really satisfied as well, because it's puzzling everything together and figuring stuff out. So then those things like rewarding me more makes me start to like the album more and more with every listen. And even as I make this, there's like I think there's like one thing still that I'm still like, and I'm gonna leave that up to y'all so that y'all can help me out with figuring that part out. But you know, this is all gonna be just my opinion on what each track kind of like the story that each track is like meaning. And maybe when I break this down to y'all, then y'all be able to see the movie too. And then when you listen to the songs, but when you listen to the album, be able to maybe appreciate it even more than you did before, like how it was with me. Because I feel like a lot of times we criticize things more harshly because we don't fully understand it. Doesn't mean all the time, you know. It doesn't mean that, you know, just if you do understand this, all of a sudden now it's mandatory that you're gonna love it. I'm not expecting that, but I think it's best to at least give credit where credit is due. And that's why I'm the type of person who, like, even if I'm not really a big fan of Taylor Swift, I still want to listen to that album and still ask people who are big fans of Taylor Swift, like, oh, what are you seeing with this track? What are your favorite tracks and why? Like, what does it mean to you? Like, am I missing something here? And then, you know, when I find out, like, okay, I think I got everything from this and I understand what's going on, it's just not really for me, then it's not really for me. And I see how that could be the same thing for Cole. I didn't get to do this for the last video, but, man, I'm geek. You know, I got the vinyl here. Like, this is solid, man. And I'm kind of disappointed right now too, because I live in Atlanta and I don't have technically right now at the time of me making this, I have a ticket to the Fall Off concert. Solid, man. It's just beautiful. I'm so happy about this. Just collecting it. I have a Fall Off ticket, but those seats are disgusting, in my opinion. And you know, I've been to a J. Cole concert before. It's probably even here on my channel. You know, I think I titled it like my first J. Cole concert. And that was just, you know, me posting for me to post it. But it's like I have such bad seats and I've wished I could get better ones. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to look at it like at least you going. But at the same time, I'm like, man. Anyway, I'm sorry. I've already wasted some of y'all's time. Y'all like, come on, let's get to the tracks and everything. So yeah, let's just jump right into that. So first off, the first track on the album, Disc 29, is 29 Intro, right? And it starts off with, you know, this dude, you know, he's singing. Actually, to be like really like, you know, exact with it, is James Taylor. And, you know, he's singing, you know, in my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Guess I'm going to Carolina in my mind. Pretty much as he's doing all of this, then you hear some commotion in the background, right? You hear a lot of, as my friend Marquise likes to say, niggatry going on. You pretty much from that point, you hear like some gunshots go off. And then that's when you go into the next song, which is 2-6. And, you know, that's when you start to, like, hear that song. 2-6 niggas wild, baby. 2-6 niggas wild. So first with that intro, then you see that J. Cole, you know, it's just, like, bringing, like, a James Taylor, like, oh, like that, like, the two contrasts of that same area. Like, okay, there's this peaceful type of vibe that, you know, like, a white person, like James Taylor, might sing about and everything having to do with, you know, that area. But then Cole's experience of this area, especially Fayetteville, and like specifically, you know, is like this is the energy that we get from here. Like he starts talking about like, you know, like 2-6 niggas is wild, you know, like they doing this, they doing that, they moving in this way, like this is like they're dogs, you know. And so like he's introducing his home to all of us, like, and like he's trying to show you like, yo, like this is how it's like to be here, you know, in the Ville. You know, the sky was covered by clouds like the color of the smoke. I couldn't see the sun, but I clung to a glimmer of hope. Thousands of miles from heaven and a block away from the slums adjacent to the hood, just like the pointer is to the thumb. Some days I had to use them both for picking up them crumbs to place upon my tongue, knowing the hunger would not numb. Be careful of the devil and the melodies you hum, smiling going viral while infecting all of the young. I was lost back then, I was blind, deaf, and dumb, but I knew I'd find me a way. So like pretty much he loves, you know, his home, but he admits it's wild over there. And like this is where I'm from. So he's introducing you to his area. You know, like this is where I'm from. So then we go into the next song where it's called, you know, track 3, it's Safety. And in Safety, we're hearing from James. Now, James, if you don't know him, James is the dude that's actually in a lot of the songs. I think his real, like, well, not his real name, but the alias that is going on from with Cole is James McMillan. Dang, I can't remember the exact name at the moment. But essentially, somebody on Threads actually had, like, you know, put it all together. And I put some of this together too because I heard like the, you know, Nina at the end of the Forest Hills Drive Deluxe. So I was like, oh, that's the same guy that he was talking about in For Your Eyes Only, where he speaks from James' perspective, and it's kind of like a double entendre where he's speaking from his perspective and James' perspective. And he also talks about him in The End of Change, where he's like, overcame with the feeling I can't explain because that was my nigga James that was slain. He was 22. And so he's telling this story. James is also supposedly the dude that was talking to him in adolescence. You know, like, do you know how you sound right now? If you wasn't my bro, like, I would think that you was a clown right now. Like, you trying to get a degree, but I'm trying to be like you, but you're trying to be like me. Like, you know, so like that's James, who had a daughter named Nina. You know, talks a lot about that in J. Cole's like album and everything. So anyway, in the For Your Eyes Only album. So James is calling J. Cole, and you know, he's telling him all this stuff like, hey man, like, what's up? You know, I know, like, it's been a long time. Like, I just wanted to let you know, like, I got a new number, so, like, delete that old one. By now, I'm sure you must have heard about how I got jammed up and I had to sit some. It's nothing. No, I did longer bids. This was a quick one. I never hit you because I know niggas be playing victim, begging you for big sums of dough when income's low. That ain't my style. It'll never be. So pretty much the whole song, James is literally just calling Cole up, and he's like, hey man, I just want to let you know, I got a daughter. Yo, you remember the girls that used to be bad? Hey, some of them are still bad, some of them are like, nah. Yo, you remember that dude that, you know, we kind of always knew that he kind of switched in a different type of way, and we used to call him words that we weren't supposed to say, you know, but now, well, we saw him the other day and he died, you know, like he was doing drag and all that, and like, yeah, he's saying like all of this stuff. He said so many of our peers passed away through the years. My appreciation for airs in my lungs has been enhanced. Yo, Quay passed last night from medical conditions that were too advanced. For doctors to intervene, they couldn't do a thing. They say he dwindled away until his size was that of a figurine. It seemed just like a mystery. Some say it was acquired immune deficiency syndrome. We've been known what team he acknowledged. Since we was kids, he lived in a closet, but that changed soon as he went to college up there, Wilden, A&T. He's talking about this guy who was like, yo, dude that we used to kick it with and everything like that. Like, everything changed with him and everything. And, hey, he died, you know, from AIDS, to be honest. And we always knew, like, you know, he was gay and this, that. We used to even tease him about it. He was doing drag. We caught him doing that, that. But he's gone now. Yo, I think that they would at least, it would be nice to see you at the funeral, you know. So that's pretty much what James tells Cole. And at this point, Cole has not been back to the Ville in a long time. And, you know, to be honest, like that, there's a reason even for that. In fact, he kind of alludes to that too in this song too, with Safety. James says, like, by the way, like, what's good with old dude who's making songs about you? Like, because James is talking about how, like, you know, people in the city like they love you, like, but then there's also some people who are jealous of you, like they kind of hating on you and everything like that. Like there's this one dude who's like making songs about you and everything like that. Like I don't like this dude. I was about to actually punish him severely, but then I was like, you know what? When I think about it, Cole, you'd probably tell him, hey man, just leave it alone. You know, look, I know you low key about peace and vibes and stuff like that, whatever. So you know, I just left it alone. But anyway, he ends the song by saying like, yo, this is what happened with Quay. You should come home, and it'd be nice to see you at the funeral. So at the end of that song, you hear Cole hop in the car and then drive, like, you know, like it starts and everything to indicate that he's driving back to Fayetteville at this point. So this is his first time coming to visit Fayetteville in a very long time, honestly. I don't know the exact number of time, but yeah. So as he's driving through Fayetteville, that's when we have Run the Train playing. You know, you got like Future talking about like, do you know about my passion? Do you know about my pain? Do you know about my struggle? Do you know about Jermaine? You know, so like this is Cole, and he's driving through, and he's talking about, you know, like, you know, they say the Lord's timing is divine, and I walk with him, so that explains mine. Like Cole, deep down you may find all that pain creates a strange bond. Slums connected like the drums and the bass line. Petrified of death and poverty, I chase mine. So he's driving through Fayetteville, and I like when I'm listening to this song, I'm seeing him just kind of like looking like as he's like driving, and he's just like, dang, you know, I'm really back home. I haven't been back home in forever. But yeah, I'm really back home right now, and shoot, I've grown. Like, what do you know about me? But then also at the same time, like, damn, like, here's changed too. And he's kind of like looking back and he's seeing like how, man, like, even though it's changed, some things are still the same. Like, a lot of things actually are still the same. And some of the worst things about this spot are still the same. And, you know, this is the place that I used to want to try to save. And man, as I look back, I'm like, dang, like, this is crazy. Like, there's still people who are doing this. There's still people who are doing that. This is still going on over here. I mean, I know my boy just called me about all of this stuff, but this is crazy. So from there, that's when we get to Poor Thing. He's ready. Like, he's like, all right, I'm back in the Ville. Now, about that dude that James just called me about, who said, and he said like, yo, what's about old dude who's making songs about you and everything like that? Yeah, okay, you know what? It's about time that I finally confront him. So he makes Poor Thing, and I'm not gonna lie, this song went so hard. Like even when J. Cole only like showed like a snippet of it, he showed a snippet of it in one of the trailers before the Fall Off album dropped. This beat, it just hits my soul. That's just me personally. Like that's just cool, and I just like the hook. Like, poor thing, young pups playing war games. He wanted love, but he only made more pain. Poor thing, young pups playing war games. He wanted love, but he only. And then it just starts off like, picture my soul climbing out an infinite hole when niggas die over pride, live for the dough.
Young pups playing war games. He wanted love, but he only made more pain. Poor thing. Young pups playing war games. He wanted love, but he only made more pain.
In the second verse, he says, here go a song that gets the shit off of my sternum. This nigga back home been talking stick and I done heard him. You got your name going. Niggas like that gonna throw they dirt on. You make some coins, niggas gonna act like you gonna earn them. He talk like he live, but I remember him from high school, man. Deep down inside, I know he a bitch, I wanna hurt him. I know that's my pride, I carry it just like a burden. When egos is flared, beware, that's when they close the curtain. He's talking about how like, yo, this dude, he's talking stuff about me. I heard about it. I don't like it, especially because I know how this dude is like. This dude is weak. Like, what is even going on? And, you know, a lot of people actually thought that it was this dude named Space who peed on J. Cole's house and everything. But, like, Space came out, like, 2 years ago. Or, like, he dropped them disses with J. Cole, like, 2 years ago. What's the dirt? On his channel, he talks about who the real reference that J. Cole is, like, making on this song, you know, like who he's actually like talking about. And if you go and watch that video, he breaks down everything way better than I could break it down right now. But essentially, it's this football player, this NFL football player. I think he's no longer in the NFL right now. He's retired or something like that. And from what I heard, he's selling juice now, and he got his locks and everything like that going.
Okay, so if it's not 910 Space, then who could Cole be talking to? Well, I believe Cole's true target is an ex-NFL player turned rapper from Fayetteville named Tank Tyler. Tank was drafted to the NFL in 2007, and unlike 910 Space, he is the exact same age as J. Cole. They were both born in 1985. Tank played in the NFL for around 4 years before jumping into hip-hop. Due to being from the same city, eventually the two connected, and Tank had high hopes that J. Cole would help promote his music career. When that didn't happen, it seems as though he attempted to extort Cole and basically told him if he wouldn't do any records with him, then Cole couldn't come back to Fayetteville.
And Cole, like, pretty much told him to eat a dick. And so then this dude starts saying like, yo, you know, I roll with some gang members and stuff like that. So you know what? All right, that's fine. You don't want to help put me on and offer for my protection of the Ville. I'm going to be the danger now that you're going to run into in the Ville. Like every time you try to have a show over here in the Ville, which by the way, you're not welcome back. He literally told Cole, you're not welcome back over here, because if you do come back, we're going to be at every show. Me and all of my goons, we're going to be at every show, and we're going to be waiting to plot on you. And so even though Cole, he did talk his head about it, he didn't come back to the Ville until this moment, until when he was 29. Like even when he did a show in North Carolina, he did it at Charlotte. And so he did not go back to the Ville until this, you know, this period. And that's when he, you know, like starts talking about the song and everything like that. So he starts talking about how like, look, I am not afraid of this dude. I will fight you. Like, you know, run me my fade. And if I take an L, I won't feel no way. And he just starts going off on this guy too, like punk bit, like he's just saying all of this stuff. Like, bro, you literally, like, I remember you from high school. I remember like you used to move like this. I remember you used to do this. Like, bro, you're not even really from the hood for real. Like, you know, where I moved to like later, like dog, like there's mad trees around you. And then I think it was also double entendre because he's talking about his locks as well, because like now the dude has locks. So he's like, yo, like you really just like me. Like you trying to talk stuff about me, but like you're more like me than you think. Like we both were sports players. We were both nerds. Like we both did well in school. You even had both of your parents around. So how did you end up talking about the way that you are and everything like that? Like don't act like you're something that you're not. But you know what? It's cool. I'm back in the Ville now. And yeah, let's fight, but don't bring no guns. I don't want none of that. I don't bring any of your goons. Let's keep it fair. And I'm acknowledging like, okay, you're a big dude. So if I take an L, I won't even feel no way. At least I handled it like a man. At the end of that video, then you hear Cole on the phone. And originally, I thought that he was calling the dude. And he's like, hey, what's up? Like, cause he was pretty much like, man, I just talked all that. But now that I got it off of my chest, you know what? Let's try to patch it up. But I think I was mainly wrong. Who he was really trying to call was the girl who he's married to right now. Spoiler alert. But you know, he's trying to call her. Just like, yeah, you know, like she's not picking up the phone. You know, they've been connected, texting and you know, like maybe phone calls and stuff like that. Whatever they used to do back then. You know, for mad long. That's when you start moving into legacy, and he's like now out and like he's kind of like, you know, like just still thinking about like, dang, like I'm trying to find the one who got away from me. So he says, I be texting you. I'm trying to find the one who got away from me. Yeah, I'm still texting you. So with this, he's talking about how like he has commitment issues. He can't even decide what's for dinner. You know, pardon me, selfish flows. I need a Yelp for hoes. I need to read reviews. So he's talking about all of these hoes that he's like messed with and stuff like that. Like, and he's not ashamed to admit like, yo, he talks about it in so many of his songs in the past. He's been open about like, yo, he's been messing around and doing all this stuff. And the girl knows it because, you know, they've been on and off. Like she knows like, hey, he even talks about it in certain songs. He's like, man, I can't lock it in with you right now because I already know like these girls, they throwing themselves at me. I'm a cheat. And I know that you are the one for me, but I know that if I commit to you right now, that means all of this candy around me, I won't ever be able to eat it again. And I don't want to be like that. So I want to make sure that when I get to you, then I'm ready for you. You know what I'm saying? But dang, I'm really thinking about my legacy right now and everything. Like I just finished Forest Hills Drive and all that. Like shoot, like where do I go from here? So, you know, he's talking about all of that and everything. He's really talking about like, I'm trying to find the one who got away from me. Like, the one who got away. Like he's like, I know this is the girl who I need to be with, but unfortunately, I still got some growing up to do. So since she's not picking up, then that's when we get to Bunce Road Blues, where he's like riding around and everything like that. So he's still thinking about like, okay, will you be ready when I'm ready? I'd rather you go and be happy. Like, so he's still in that reflection mode. You know, this is where you got like Future, you know, on there like as well. He's like, it's 7 o'clock on the dot, I'm in my drop top, cruising the streets that I grew up in. I didn't think the same back then. You know how Future be singing, you know. He's saying, oh, how we changed, my nigga. That's when the pistols go pop, pop, bodies drop, they get blocked. It's the police, we ain't see nothing. I just roll up my weed and get to puffing and lay back in my seat. Oh, yes, I'm numb again. So he's talking about like, okay, you know, like I'm back in my city. I'm still, you know, just taking everything in because it's been so long since I've been back. But man, I can't get this girl off of my mind. The girl who I know I'm supposed to be marrying, but dang, like my commitment issues is keeping me from doing that. And I'm trying to text her, I'm trying to call her, I'm trying to text her and everything like that. And I guess apparently she actually hits him back. That's who Thames is playing, which when I found this out, I was like, oh shoot, he's talking to Thames. Like, I mean, he's like, Thames is playing as his now wife. So, you know, Thames, she comes in, you know, she's like, I'd rather you go and be happy. I don't want to leave you alone. Like, they're going back and forth, like, will you be around when I'm ready? Like, so they're talking about, like, okay, like, Cole, I know that, you know, you got commitment issues. You want to do all of this. And they're both talking about, like, look, I want you to just go and be happy. I just want you to go and, like, live your life. Go do whatever you got to do. But, man, like, I also at the same time am so into you. So who knows if I'm going to still be around, but I also feel like I'm, like, locked in. And that's where Thames, you know, starts saying, have mercy, it's broken, I'm handcuffed, I'm roped in, I'm handcuffed, I'm roped in, I'm handcuffed, I'm roped in. Have mercy, it's broken. And it seems like a submission as it goes on. This is actually probably one of the most important lines in the whole entire album that he says in this same song right here. He says, I ain't no preacher for real, I just like to cut on the mic and start letting it spill. And I've been leaving a trail. You play all my albums and find you a letter revealed. This is a suicide note. Come here, look at what I wrote. I'm about to kill myself. FJ Cole. I don't even want this role. Want to rebuild myself. Tuck my pole under the driver's seat. Nigga, don't try to reach. I bust a hole right into your frontal lobe. That's a lobotomy. So in this song, Bunch Road Blues, like he's literally talking about like how he wants to rebuild himself. He wants to kill this character J. Cole, you know, and he wants to be Jermaine. Like, you know, this is like showing like the evolution, the growth. He's like, man, like, because this character J. Cole is really getting in the way of Jermaine. Jermaine is the man who's supposed to be like matured, wise, developed with the woman of his dreams. J. Cole is still out here in these streets. He's still having commitment issues. He's still like doing this. He's still trying to be powered up. And that's how we then end up seeing the stuff that happens in the next song, Drum and Bass. In Drum and Bass, that's where he's pretty much like going around now. Like now he's outside, really. Like he's just talking about, get the fuck up out my face. What you talking about? I got too much on my plate and I know you can't relate. So he's literally like he's just out on the streets. Like he literally says, niggas told that drum and bass. What you talking about? So you better know your place. Stay inside because it ain't safe. Bitch, I'm outside with the eights. What you talking about? Like he just keeps on talking about like, you know, like, yo, I'm outside. I'm doing this. But I know that I got to be street smart. But man, like I'm feeling pumped. I'm feeling powered up. Like he's just feeling himself. And he's talking about how, like, you know, even though he has a mindset where he's like, he's quiet as kept, I feel the vibe of the whole city so tired and stressed from getting fed this steady diet of death. So he's like getting so annoyed with himself. He's really like getting the bravado and everything. And it seems like he's just, man, like I'm still in this energy. I don't know for sure if that exchange between him and Homegirl actually happened, or if that like, or if Thames was just like him and the homegirl just kind of like talking in that way. But either way, he's outside. He literally says, tonight I stepped out with my niggas and felt the organic nostalgia that arouses when I'm with the rest of the bandits. Obsessed with talking about the bitches we sexed till we landed in the spot what always used to pop when we was younger. Shook hands with niggas I hadn't seen for several Septembers. Gave hugs to women I only vaguely remembered. The way their fingers caressing my back was giving me signals like you may enter, looking for my agenda. Straight and narrow for a while, but tonight I'm on a bender, and my retina antennas are scanning the club intently. For the girl I wanted bad and almost had before the Bentley. But evidently, when you're the greatest rapper of the century, you'll get another shot. The club was starting to get too hot. So I stepped outside for a breather. That very moment I seen her. She had the glow of Aaliyah while I controlled my demeanor and said. And he walks up to her and he's pretty much like, yo, what's up and everything like that. And there's some dudes that try to pull up to him and they're like, oh, yo, shoot, that's like J. Cole. And he's like, hey, look, I'm going to talk to you real quick. I'm trying to talk to this girl right over here. So anyway, back to you. And the guys that he kind of blew off, even though he said he was going to get back to them, they start to feel some type of way like, oh, okay, so he's focused on this chick and he's not talking to us. All right, he's feeling himself too much. He's become too Hollywood now. All right, bet. He's going to see what's coming to him, which is then going to come in this song that's coming up. But at this point, J. Cole is talking to this girl. Previously, I was thinking that this girl is the girl that, that Thames was playing, the girl that he ends up being with and everything like that, like his wife. But I am starting to think that it might not have been. I think that this is just another one of them hoes that J. Cole, when he was here in the Ville, he was like, dang, you know what? There was some chick that before I got the Bentley and everything, I really wanted to mess with her and everything. I really wanted to go around with her. And I never got around the chance to doing that. So he's looking intently for her. He's like, yo, if I'm outside tonight, this is the girl who I want to get my chance with because I'm trying to get everything out of my system. And oh man, I found her and dang, she has the glow of Aaliyah. And we know that Cole felt some type of way about Aaliyah because remember from Forest Hills Drive, my biggest regret could never take Aaliyah home. So it's like, okay, he got some attraction to Aaliyah in that sense. So as he's talking to this girl and everything like that, then he's still feeling himself. That's why you get the chorus. Get the fuck out my face. What you talking about? I got too much on my plate and now you can't relate. They show love but it be fake. What you talking about? Should be covering up the plate. I know how to spot a snake. Niggas tote that drum and bass. What you talking about? So you better know your place. Stay inside cause it ain't safe. Bitch, I'm outside with the 8s. What you talking about? And tell me what sense do it make coming back when you escape? So that last chorus is genius because when it's going into the next song, he's pretty much talking about he's feeling himself and all that, but he knows that it's still smart to stay away, even though he's like, yo, I can spot a snake and everything like that. Because people be fake, they show love, but it really be fake and stuff like that. Just like the people who he just blew off, they were so quick to be like, all right, we got him. And the reason why he says that now, because even though he said that, I stay inside because it ain't safe. Well, do you really stay inside because it ain't safe? Because right now you outside, bro. And so with him being outside, now we get into the next song, which is the Let Out. And this song is like a Western. It just, as soon as it started playing, to me, it reminded me of a few different songs. Honestly, it reminded me a little bit of Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande. And it just kind of and so it got that guitar thing going on a little bit. It reminded me of another song too that I heard while I was in the gym. But yeah, it's a vibe. Really, at this point, I'm picturing the movie where Cole's going into the club, right? And he's still with this girl and everything like that. And a dude spots him, and he's genuine, that's what Cole says. So Cole literally says, inside of the club on the wall, she was right there beside me. Couldn't tell there was danger around me. Damn, she blinded me. Please watch your step, I heard from a concerned gentleman. He was about my age, the face that displayed he was genuine. Be safe, he said. Heard niggas talking loud in the hallway by the bathroom door. They was plotting on you and your compadres. So I sobered up quick with the heightened sense of fear in me. What the you doing in the Ville with no security? Yeah, your city love you, but trust that don't mean anything. Somebody gonna hate you for what it could be anything. The way that you talk, the way that you rap, the way that you put on the Ville, but you barely come back no more. So he's saying all this stuff yo, what am I doing? Why did I come out here? I literally was just talking about it in the last song, yo, man, it ain't safe out here. People run with the drum and bass, the boom, 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 right? But he's like, man, shoot, I'm J. Cole. I'm J. Cole, not even Jermaine. He's moving as J. Cole, that persona. He got the bad girl, on his the bad chick, on his arm and everything. He posts up on the wall. But now he's like, dang, now that I'm getting word of this, I need to be careful. So he's trying to get out. His radar is up. He noticed this dude with the hat real low. The vibe is negative. I'm telling Shorty, yo, we gotta go. And at that same moment, I swear the lights came on. The DJ was yelling some shit on the microphone. He said, "You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the out of here, out of here." When the lights turn on, everybody get the out of here, the out of here. So now that's when you start seeing the hook that everybody's like pretty much obsessed with. I mean, maybe you're not, but everybody on Twitter, everything, it grows on you. It's like, oh, we survived the let out, will we survive the let out? And it's talking about like, okay, will they be able to get out? Will they make it out of this event? Now people are moving in a weird way and everything like that. And he has his head on the swivel. He's like, yo, who are the people that are trying to rob me, that are trying to like, fight me, that are trying to like kill me? And it's these same dudes, most likely from what we can infer, that were like, oh, okay, like we'll see about that. Like, like they were trying, like, yo, it's J. Cole. And now they're like, all right, since J. Cole played me, they kind of went syndrome on this dude. Now all of a sudden, he's no longer like Mr. Incredible anymore. Now it's not incredible anymore. Now it's syndrome. Like these dudes are upset, so they're trying to rob him. Cole goes on to say, she got the type of thing you can't even find no more. They play the type of games I don't be around no more. I see some niggas that tying bandanas on their face, pop in the trunk. That's where the hammers always lay. I'm trying to find a way to get to the parking spot. Feels like a mile away. I gotta get off the block. Shawty done stopped and put her arms around my waist and told me, I want you. Damn. So then it goes on, and he's like, no, not right now. Because my man is shook. He's like, man, I've been wanting to smash for years, and this is my opportunity. But man, J. Cole is in trouble right now, and how can you be this dumb that I'm over here like, yo, we gotta go, and you're like faded off of the Henny or whatever it might be, and you're like, nah, like I want you. And it's kind of like, what? And Cole goes on to say like, yes, it happened to me, but please believe when I tell you it can happen to you. So he starts talking about like how proceed with caution, thinking they stalking your moves, pistols be sparking, leaving your thoughts on your shoes, outside of the club, paranoid with keys in my hand, heard the shots ring out, full survival instincts, we ran. Will I make it home? 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 Only God knows. Only God knows. So he's literally just like, surviving. And that's when you get the interlude where he pretty much says the whole thing, which is just true. He says, in a hood near you, there's a late night gathering of souls in the parking lot. Shortly after the club closed, because niggas don't want to go home. But it won't be long for somebody start wilding and shots firing and good times turn violent at the let out. So, that's when they start, going back into the chorus and everything. That guitar was singing in this song, y'all, for real. But anyway, we're going to keep on moving. So now we hit the track 11, Bombs in the Ville, and it's also Hit the Gas. So in this song, he's talking about how, like, now all of a sudden he wants to lock it down with the next shorty. And again, previously I thought that shorty that was on him, that was like, I want you, was his wife. But I'm pretty sure that it's actually some other girl that he was just trying to smash. But now, after this, J. Cole is scared straight. He's like, man, this lifestyle is destroying me. If I was hanging out with the girl of my dreams, the girl that I always knew I was going to end up with, my final base, this wouldn't have happened. And you can tell this too because in one of his previous songs, Losing My Balance, and this song is on the warm-up. It's actually a bonus track. And at the end of that song, I think it's the third verse, he's talking about the girl that he ends up marrying, his wife right now. I think and in that song, he's talking about how like that girl, she's more of the intellectual type. She don't really be doing, clubbing and stuff like that. It makes sense that actually such a woman was not at the club like this. And I felt like, the first time I listened, I was like, yeah, this does seem a little bit out of character. We don't know too much about J. Cole's wife, but I felt like this seemed a little bit out of character from what I do know about her, from what he said about her in past songs and everything like that. But I was like, hey, maybe now he's just unveiling more of that side of her. Like maybe she don't go to clubs like that, but maybe this was one of them times where she actually did come out and then she was just so drunk that she was like, yo, like I want you. But nope. It seems like after listening again, in my most recent time listening, like he's actually talking about a different woman. And after that whole thing, like Bombs in the Ville, he's talking about, in this song, he's talking about how, like, yo, the smoke cleared. After the smoke cleared, like, it was just you. As in the girl who's now his wife. And he's like, man, like, what was I thinking? You know what? I'm done with this lifestyle, man. Like, I just want to lock it down, make time for you. Chocolate brown, what sign are you? I don't know, but I got a feeling that can't be stopped. Hugged up with you in the parking lot. Outside the whip with my shit on rock. Lips so soft with the strawberry gloss. You make a nigga fall. See? And this was the exact part that I said, y'all, it would be nice if y'all put in your opinion here of what you think this is. Because now, as I'm reading it again, then it's talking about like how, like, okay, you know, like, I want to lock it down with you. We hugged up in the parking lot, outside the whip with my on rock. Lips so soft with the strawberry gloss. You make a nigga fall like Marbury Cross. And I'm like, are they hugged up in the parking lot of where the let out just happened? But then I'm like, no, it couldn't have been, because he said that, will I make it home? Will I make it home? So I feel like he wouldn't be out there when this is still going on, right? But maybe he took this girl home, and maybe this girl all along was the girl who is his wife right now, and he's hanging out with her there at the parking lot of his crib, or maybe some other parking lot, or maybe he's talking about a different time where they've been like, you know, they've kicked it here and there, and it's like parking lot. I don't know, because again, like, what even made me think this was like, so anyway, we'll get there. But, you know, he says, I got high hopes for you. I got high hopes for you. I'm a star. I'd never shine, but I'd never shine. Built the tallest wall. Come see him behind. Bombs in the Ville, violent all the times. When the smoke clears, you is who I find. Let's run away. Let's run away. So he said, heard somebody said they on top now. I pull up to see if you there. I've been counting up M's in the background, still moving low key, I'm rare. Remember the spot you met me? I'll pull up to see if you there. I was hoping you ain't forget me. So I'm thinking again, like, this is the part where I was like, okay, why would he say this about this girl if he was just with her at the club? So I feel like it is, I think I was right. I think that I'm right that he was with some different girl, and that whole parking lot thing is a different scene now, right? Still a little bit foggy, but yeah, like, because now he hits the gas, and he hits the gas, so he's moving forward, right? So it's the second part of the song, and he's like, God damn, she got it. Damn. He's talking about how in this song, he really felt like, yo, I want to change my ways. I want to be with you. I want to lock this down. All the commitment issues that I had, I'm putting it out the window. And I know that in the previous song, Bunch Road Blues, you were saying like, hey, if you're going to be with me, you can't be J. Cole. You got to be Jermaine Cole, which is essentially her pretty much along the lines of just saying like, hey, like, if we really going to be together, then I want to make sure that you're really about it. Like, you're committed to me and me only. And this way that you've been, you pretty much mature and you grow up. So now he starts talking about how he got gray hairs on his head, means that he knows a few things, and that he bought an iPhone that travels through time. FaceTime and done got a younger me on the line. When he says that he got a younger me on the line, I think that what's really happening now, funny enough, is like this time loop, this time lapse kind of thing, where it's like, it's actually the 39-year-old J. Cole talking to the 29-year-old J. Cole that we see right now. So the 29-year-old J. Cole that was in the let out and everything like that he's talking on FaceTime to a 39-year-old J. Cole. And that's what's kind of going on. So, and this is important because this is an important transition of the lyrical movie that I at least have in my head. He said as soon as he saw me, so 39-year-old J. Cole to 29-year-old J. Cole, as soon as he saw me, He's just started crying. I told him, relax, everything gonna be fine. He wiped off his face, said he was trying to be strong, but some days he feel like he doing it wrong. I told him, hold on, and passed off my phone to my oldest son and my youngest one, and I said, I want you to look them straight in the face. Did it look like you've been making mistakes? Fame is a drug you was chosen to take. Unfortunately, you can't be sober and great. You're just like a flower the world want to hold. They stiff on your petals until you get old, and then they dispose. A new flower grows. Can't take it personal, just how it goes. Soon you're going to know that you're high coming down, and that's the point that I call you from now. This is the fall off. I'm falling off how? The rappers do when they can't find a new sound. Missing the days that was hotter year round, but life is a film that cannot be rewound. So then he's just like reflecting on all of this, and I feel like that part was just so beautiful because that's pretty much like closing out his era of like when he was 29, right? And it's, you know, the last song from there is like Lonely at the Top, where that whole song, I see it as kind of like a little bit of like an interlude or a transition period where he's essentially talking about he's officially like uninspired and everything like that, and he doesn't want to make music or anything anymore. So he's just kind of like, yeah, you know what? My pen is starting to dull out. And yeah, I'm falling off. Like, this is where he first came up with the concept of the fall off. He's like, dang, yeah, like I'm just kind of like done here. Like, and he talks about this in his Inevitable audio series. And he's just like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm good. I think I'm good off of this. My pen is like weakening and everything. But then in this song, Lonely at the Top, he even starts talking about like how he wishes that he could like get his favorites, his top, like the people who inspired him that maybe now have also fallen off, to like, you know, dust off, you know, the cobwebs and like really start like getting some drills done. He's like, yo, like even though y'all might be old, y'all might have fallen off, you had the talent there. It's still there. The spirit is still in you, which is, you know, gonna be coming in with the next disc. Spirit is still in you, so we can move from that. You know, we can use that in some way. And I feel like that's where, you know, he starts talking about like, you know, for my selfish reasons, I want to help y'all to become as great as you used to be. And yeah, that's where Disc 29 kind of like lets off. At this point, I'm thinking like, yo, should I split this video as its own thing and then Disc 39 explained into its own thing? But I guess I'll see by the end of the video. Either way, I'm still going to record it right now. It's just whether or not I should like put it as one or the other, but who knows? Maybe I might ask y'all on Threads and we'll see. Guess you'll see once you see how this goes up. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of how that closes out. And then from there, that's when we start to transition to J. Cole at age 39. So like, it's kind of like that FaceTime call was the transition period. All right, so we are continuing now with Disc 39. And in Disc 39, this is where, like I said in the last video or the last segment for Disc 29, I view this whole album like a movie, right? So in Disc 29 and Disc 39, this is kind of where they trade off. There's J. Cole, which is Disc 29, and then there's Jermaine Cole, which is, you know, the matured version of J. Cole, you know, the sage-like type of J. Cole. So we left off in Disc 29 with 39-year-old Jermaine Cole consoling 29-year-old J. Cole and telling him like, yo, look at the sons that you raised in about 10 years and everything like that. Like, this, you're doing all right, man. Like, it's hard. This is how the world is going to treat you in this way, but like, you are doing well and you're going to be better. Like just hold tight to whatever you got going on. Boom, boom, right? So with that, then after pretty much the way that I see it in this movie as it continues is that Jermaine Cole, 39-year-old Jermaine Cole, puts the phone down right after being on FaceTime with his younger self, and then he goes to sleep. He goes into some sort of like psychedelic trance as he's sleeping. When he's asleep, this is where 39 intro starts. You know, you start saying, you just hear this whole thing, you know, like just going on. Like, I'm picturing like this kind of like psychedelic scene, and that's where you hear J. Cole sing. Like, he starts off the disc singing like, a spaceship lands on Mars, halfway to the stars, halfway to the stars. I wanna be where you are. It seems we're worlds apart. It seems we're worlds apart. Once in a while I feel myself like drifting off to somewhere else, floating past Orion's belt. Still there's something I can't help. So it's like he's singing all of this. This is very important because he's at this point, the way I view it at least, he's given up rap. He's like, yo, I'm becoming irrelevant. I already made my classic 2014 Forest Hills Drive. I'm done. Yes, I've made, For Your Eyes Only, KOD, might delete later in the off season and during this time period. But even, which is funny because I noticed this even before he confirmed it recently. But like even those are like side quests. You know what I'm saying? Like they were not continuing the story. They weren't continuing like the story of what I was talking about, like in Bunch Road Blues, where I said like if you look at all of my true albums, I'm giving you the story of my life, and this is a suicide note where I'm killing myself, as in like I'm killing who I am right now to become someone better. So at this point, the pen is dull, and he's just kind of like, yeah, like it is what it is, like it is what it is, right? But then sees what I view as the spirit of hip hop, and this becomes like very like Scrooge-like. I forgot what the name of that movie is, but like that movie where with Ebenezer Scrooge and like the spirit of Christmas like takes Scrooge throughout everything to like show him his life in that kind of sense. That's kind of how I'm seeing a lot of the disc 39, because the spirit of hip hop is personified as a woman that now he starts talking about like, we were in a world before, I know we was together in another life together, and of that I'm sure that it's the only way I can really explain how it feels inside, as sure as one could ever be. It's like no matter how bad I want to go, that explains your hold on me. Magnets, it gotta be like that. I'm pulled to you. Love gravitational, something cosmic, universal, metaphysical, can't see it, always present, just feel it. I'm pulled to you. So he's really like saying like, yo, like I am so drawn to this entity, which is the spirit of hip hop. And she's again being personified as a woman. So he's kind of like, he's still singing at this point. He's still singing at this point. And what I'm picturing at this point, which to me is just so cold, like it's just so dope, is that the spirit of hip hop takes him in, and there's this like little guitar intro, like so during that part, I'm picturing him like being like transformed, like how like Digimon, like a lot of stuff is just happening and he's like, whoa, like what's going on? And like hip hop is like, yeah, like I'm transforming you because you're like I'm not done with you yet. You have one final quest. So during that whole like interlude with the guitar and everything like that, you're seeing all the different parts of Jermaine that are being like transformed, they're being updated, they're being elevated, all of that. And then after that, now you start, you hear him just say like, I'm pulled to you, oh, and then you hear the ding, and I'm picturing Jermaine just kind of looking at himself like, whoa, I really done transformed right now. And he's like, seeing his powers, he's probably like testing out his punches and stuff, like maybe like how Goku would and stuff like that. And then he's pretty much saying, let's stop playing the middle, let's stop running around, let's stop playing the middle, let's stop running around. So he's literally like, yo, like, I'm seeing it more as like, let's stop playing with him. Like, damn, like, I'm over here singing. Yeah, you know what? Let me test out my actual new skills. So then that's when part 2 of this intro comes on, where he's like, yeah, what you heard, so like he's getting hype. It's like, okay. Like he's really liking this. And then this is post beef. So that's when he now goes like, never in my life did I think I'd see the day that niggas wanna play with my name. But okay, I'm going back in to hip hop. Like I'm now gonna like actually try to finish this final quest that I like set myself on and everything like that. So he's getting hyped from the power. He's like, I'm gonna go in. That whole part is him like just getting hyped up and powered up. I'm gonna go in, boom, boom. I'm gonna go in, boom, boom. After all of this, he literally ends it by saying, when niggas act like they don't know, you gotta show them. That's when he flexes probably his best verse on the whole album. That, I mean, I look, one day I'm gonna memorize this verse. I love this verse. But yeah, like, to just start it off, he's like, I'm pleased to report after many attempts I climbed out from the mouth of the gritty abyss, the antonym of idiot, with who witty is this. My mind frame has been trained with NVIDIA chips. My rhymes are like shrines for the city I miss, where in time I found beauty in the hideousness. My tongue can set fire to some, inspire the young out of, or put a hickey on the titty on the prettiest. He's going in. He's going in, bro. And he's just showing off like his whole like his new power. This is kind of like, I'm picturing it as like Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time, or whatever Super Saiyan it might have been for the first time, and he's just flexing like, wow, this is a new transformation. So then after that, then pretty much you start seeing how the spirit of hip hop now gives him a vision. So he now like he's been transformed in the 39 intro, right? So now the spirit of hip hop is like, okay, I'm gonna show you your whole entire life, and she gives him the vision of his whole entire life backwards. That's where you get the fall off is inevitable. So he literally raps his whole life backwards using the same exact rhyme scheme. My man is a genius. Come on now. But he's rapping his whole life backwards using the same exact like rhyme scheme and 4 syllables and stuff like that. And he then at the end of that song, he understands the mission that the spirit of hip hop has given him. So then that's when you go into the Villas. And when he does the Villas and everything, then he says, I got something I want to tell you. I got something I want to tell you. So in this one, the spirit of hip hop takes him back to a time where, like, you know, pretty much now he's like looking through his old notebooks and everything like that, and he says, dust off the old notebook where a younger Jermaine Lamar wrote hooks to get a glimpse of what his hopes looked like back in his younger years, and it found a page stained with what seems to be 100 tears, as the smeared words spoke of his blunted fears, telling him persevere through it all. Go hard like Medusa in front of mirrors, to reach the top so unaware that the troubles there were nothing more than a worser version of troubles where he sat when he wrote his performing hocus pocus with empty pocket focus over some dope little beats he made himself. All the pain in his cadence felt. So like this whole entire verse is J. Cole like looking through his old journals of an even younger version of him, not even just age 29, but like age 15 or younger. And he's reminding himself, like, why did I even start rapping to begin with? And this is what the spirit of hip hop is showing him. I just picture the spirit of hip hop showing, like, he's looking at the journals. He's like, dang, yeah, I did used to be like that, huh? I did used to kind of like, you know, moving this way and this is that. And like, this is what made me fall in love with you to begin with, in a way. And like, we're going to get to that too. But like, he's really like looking through it all. And he's just like, dang, I really was able to like, you know, do a lot of stuff. And he's proud of himself. And that's why he starts talking about like, I got something I want to tell you, which could be him talking to his younger self again. He's like, dreams can come true. You'll get yours too, but it won't save you. So like, he's literally saying like, yo, dreams will come true and everything like that. But there's so much that comes with all of this that like, you like the dreams that you think that you want might not actually be the dreams that you think that you that will actually help you. And that's why he said like, if money gives happiness, then please explain the rich bastards with no peace. How come they never brought their way to Zen? So yeah, I thought that like, you know, like this was a great track, to be honest, because he's really just still reflecting on a whole bunch of stuff. And then that's when now we move to the next song on this disc. He's, you know, starting to feel himself again. Like he's really like getting back into everything. And he's like, yo, like I'm really back. Like now he's really like showing like, yo, like I'm back in the Ville, the place that I used to be afraid of, the place that I got scared straight. And like back when I was at that club and everything like that. Now he's feeling himself again, but it's a different type of energy than who the is you, who the way it's like, you know, all of that. Like did I even talk about that song? Did I skip that song by mistake? I think I skipped that song by mistake. Shoot. Anyway, but yeah, in this song, he's pretty much like giving a same type of like bravado energy, that he was giving in this 29, like where he was like really like feeling himself. He was like out in the street. So essentially Cole is brought back home again, finding appreciation for the Ville that he had a decade before began to disdain, knowing even with all of its issues, it's what made him who he is now, whom he's finally proud of. So like this whole song, Old Dog, is him just kind of like saying like, yo, like the Ville, like Carolina, like he's really like, man, like, yes, this place is, it definitely is everything that I said about it. In this 29, it definitely did, you know, affect me in many ways. But man, like because of this, that's why I'm the way that I am. Then you go into Life Sentence, and Life Sentence is a whole song where he dedicates to his wife, you know, and he pretty much uses an interpolation of DMX's song, How's It Going Down? And in that song, it's honestly more of a F-boy type of song, but Cole spins this song now, this time, still paying homage to DMX, but now he's actually talking about like the commitment that he made to his wife. Like he's like, man, like this is such a great, like I'm so glad that like I actually dedicated my life to you and everything like that. Like, and yes, we had like a hard time and everything like that, but like, man, I put a ring on this and I do not regret it. And then that's when he goes on to talk even more. He expresses like more appreciation. Like I'm seeing the spirit of hip hop kind of still taking him through his whole entire life and everything. And so now he's expressing more appreciation for his wife on Only You, and just like talking about like how much he appreciates her, how strong she is, how much he loves her, how he would not be where he is now without his wife. And so he's really grateful for that. And then he starts, you know, expressing gratitude and thanks to the man up above, which is God. And he's like, man, like, shoot, God has brought me through so much, and it's sad because there's a lot of other people who did not make it, but I was one of the blessed people who made it. And although that's not really always as fair, I'm still grateful, and I need to make use of the, like, you know, the fact that I made it. Like, since I made it, then the best that I can do is to use me, my resources, my skills, my gifts and everything to bless other people, which is then going to show up in the song a few songs from now, because then that's when you get the next song, I Love Her Again. And in this song, he pretty much talks about, he personifies the spirit of hip hop. And I see this as the spirit of hip hop now showing him their love story. And he's like looking at it, he's like, oh shoot, yeah, like this is how I actually came to really like come to know you. Like first I saw you like riding around in other dudes' cars and everything like that. I'm like, man, like she's hot. I want to be part of her. Like I want to like get to know her and stuff too. And then he finally like gets old enough to have his chance. He goes back to New York, but then in New York they're like, nah, you just kind of missed her. She's not even in the tunnel no more and everything. Now she's actually in the A, you know, Atlanta, which is funny because I'm actually from the Bronx and now I live here in Atlanta. I'm not chasing hip hop though, but. And they were talking about how, like, you know, it's really transformed, you know, like, I like that line where it's like the dudes at the barbershop said they want her back, but it seems like she's trapped, which is like trap music. And, you know, Cole, he admit in the past that he's had problems with trap music. Like, he's like, man, like that mumble rap and stuff like that. But I feel like now, especially with what this song says, once he runs into hip hop again and he like really has that, like, I feel like at this point in my head, what I see is him in the spirit of hip hop looking at a younger version of themselves, like interact with each other. Kind of like those of you who, I don't know, this is really mixing audiences this year, but if you've heard of the epic saga with the story of the Odyssey, the Odysseus and everything, there's a song called Warrior of the Mind where Athena and Odysseus, they're like reminiscing, like it's like Athena takes him back to show him a time where he, Odysseus, met Athena for the first time, and they're both watching their younger selves in a way. But because Athena is a goddess, just like, you know, in this case, hip hop is also a goddess and everything, then you see how it's like hip hop is like going back and forth like through time, but it's only Cole watching his younger self. So just like Odysseus is watching his younger self. Anyway, that's confusing, I might just cut that part out. But that's kind of how it's seeming like over here, where like Cole is watching him and hip hop and how their love story kind of formed. And even at this point, especially like toward the end, where he's like, dang, yeah, I had to grow to love her for who she is. Yeah, she transforms, she changes. That's just the type of person that she is. and he was able to appreciate that. And so after appreciating that, then he goes on to like just, now she's showing an alternate universe where Cole writes his song What If, and he starts talking about how like, man, what if Tupac and Big, you know, the titans of hip hop, you know, like what if instead of all the beef that they had going on, they just apologize. And you know, a lot of people are saying like, man, of course J. Cole would make a song about Big and Pac apologizing over a beef. But it's like, well, if you look at it, what if? Maybe then they wouldn't have been shot. Maybe then they wouldn't have been killed. Maybe they would have still, things would have been like really different. And you know, we don't know that for sure, but this is something that Cole explores there, and I feel like he explores it because that's what the spirit of hip hop shows him. Then he gets to Quick Stop. Quick Stop is definitely one of my top favorite tracks as well. And in this song, he pretty much is, you know, moving about. So I'm picturing him like, you know, just riding around listening to T.I. And then he's like, oh, shoot, I'm almost out of gas. And so he's like, dang, where am I going to go? He sees a Quick Stop and he's like, dang, I'm going to Quick Stop because if I go there, man, I don't have my hoodie and everything. But all right, hopefully nobody notices me. Well, somebody does start to notice him. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know, do you want some weed? Do you want some weed? You know, he's slinging bouquets, which is pretty much another way of saying like he's selling weed. And Cole's like, no, I'm good. No, thank you. And then he's like, yo, you look familiar. And then Cole's like, oh, yeah, you know, I get that a lot. And then the dude's like, yo, you're J. Cole. What the heck, bro? Like, I'm tripping. And, you know, obviously at this point, like J. Cole, he did not want to be noticed. After this scene, like in the Quick Stop thing, I feel like he was reminded like, yo, this is actually why I rap. This is the real purpose. It wasn't so that you can just get up to the top and you can make this a huge sport and everything like that. It's the people that you touch. He's like, oh shit, that's Cole, nigga. Wait, what you doing over this way? Bro, I was just 13 years old when I got a hold of your tape. I tried to put niggas on. They were slow to go play. Bro, you the GOAT. They didn't know then, but they know it today. I need a flick right now, quick, cause dog, I don't even know what to say to make a dollar bill right now. I'm out here throwing bouquets, slinging flowers, but I played your albums and know it's a way. I played your shit when bro got hit. It helped me cope with the pain. I played your shit when mama tripped and I had nowhere to stay. I swear I feel like you was with me in my loneliest phase. And then Cole's talking about how the love he showed me was so strong, it damn near blowed me away. See, even I be needing reminders of my loneliest days, that I should live in my purpose. If I deliver my verses and get the fuck out my way, I'll figure out what to say. Some days I forget to eat. Some days I forget to pray. I get a whole lot of love. Some days I focus on hate. And so then at the end, that's where he talks about like how like to be the best will leave you stepping at a strenuous place till you forget who you is and you forget who you ain't. Before you know it, you're trapped inside that picture you paint. This life is more than just rap, more than the riches you scrape, more than the riches you stack. See the difference you make. Yeah, it's the difference you make. Yeah, it's the difference you make. So at this point, he literally starts like talking about like, man, like this is him being reminded of like, this is why I make music. It's the difference. It's not to like get up to the top. It's the difference and everything like that. So after that, that's when he starts having like, and the whole world is Ville. And this is his final ode to Fayetteville. He's pretty much saying like, yo, Fayetteville has done a lot for me despite how much bad has happened. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Fayetteville really like built me into who I am. And the spirit of hip hop also built me into who I am and everything. And I owe it all to, you know, where I'm from. FAYETTEVILLE. You know, that song honestly gets really annoying, but whatever. And he's just like, man, I'm just really grateful and everything. And lastly, this is where it ends. The journey, reminiscing, and visions come to a conclusion as Cole now releases her spirit, you know, the spirit of hip hop, once more for the next generation, with a song that resembles the beginning of half of the disc's first track, completely void of any rapping, but full of love, peace, and alignment. So, you know, in this song, Ocean Way, there's no rapping in it, but it sounds, if you listen to it, it sounds just like the beginning of disc 39's intro. He's talking about on a grassy knoll with a rifle in hand, Cupid cleans his little scope, calmly aims at a man. Love is a candle wick in rain. After the storm, we're still aflame. I lied. Love has been called a losing game. But the more that I love, the more I gain. And this is where it ends for him. and he pretty much, that's where I see it as like hip hop, the spirit of hip hop leaves him, and now she kind of like moves forward, but like he has now completed his final mission, and then the movie ends. So that is how I envision this Cole album movie. And I think that Cole did such an amazing job with it. It took me forever to break it all down to y'all. I said I wasn't going to break it down super line by line, but honestly speaking, I'm like, you know what? This video is going to be up for a really long time, and if I got the time, let me try to like do what I can for those of you who do end up actually watching this. And at the very least, I did this for myself, you know, making a timestamp. But I love Cole. I love this album. At this point, it's definitely in top 3. I still don't know yet if it's #1 album for me. Sideline Story, personally, is just it just hits me in a different way. But I talked a lot about that in the last video, where, you know, I was talking about the fall off and everything. So yeah, y'all, thanks for taking the time to watch this. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, you know, just whatever it might be, drop them in the comment section. I would love for y'all to see some discussion around this. Like, what do y'all think? Like, how was y'all's experience with the album so far? What do you think about all of this, you know? I'm really curious to see how y'all are experiencing it, like with each listen. Did my interpretation help change your view to be a lot better? I would love to know, so like just let me know. And thanks for even taking the time to watch all this. I know it was a lot, but also I feel like if you are watching this, then you probably, I mean, you listened to Cole's 1 hour and 43 minute album probably several times, so I'm probably speaking to the demographic of people who actually have the attention span to like analyze and look it through all this and have like the media literacy and, you know, are looking for discussion and engagement in this way. So I'm glad that I was able to attract you here. I appreciate it. Please leave a like if you liked this breakdown, and make sure to check out my other Cole videos that I posted. And lastly, do not forget, you matter. Done. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video, and if you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe. It actually really helps out my channel a lot, so that more people who actually care about what I want to say can actually find me a lot more easier. Also, if you did enjoy it, then maybe you'll enjoy a lot of my other content as well, so be sure to check out some of my playlists where you'll be able to find a lot of my older videos and older content. And last but not least, if you would like any profiling sessions or coaching sessions, be sure to check out denzelmensah.com, where you'll be able to book me and you'll see the rest of my services. But thanks again, and have a great day.